The infiltration. I have never failed. From the shallow brine of Korvax Prime to the ice caverns of Real, I have entered the minds of countless beings. There will bends, their memories reshape, and their bodies become my tools. They thrash at first, they always do, but the resistance fades. It always fades. My kind feeds on dominance. We slip into the folds of thought, dissolve the walls between them and us, until only us remains. It is art. It is instinct. This one should have been simple. Humans. I had studied them for 3 planetary cycles. They were noisy, emotional, inefficient. Their neural architecture, while complex, lacked the layered redundancies of the ZHYRR or the chemical dampeners of the Kral. They were unshielded minds walking on 2 fragile legs. The target was isolated, a lone female in a maintenance corridor of an orbital platform, her biosignature reading as fatigued but healthy. Her name, according to stolen crew logs, Dana Holt. I struck in silence. A filament of thought silk extended from my hidden vessel, slipping through the base of her skull in a needle's kiss. Neural contact was immediate. I entered her mind and began the takeover sequence. Step 1. Establish anchor points in motor cortex. Step 2. Suppress higher reasoning. Step 3. Rewrite identity scaffolding. It went wrong at Step 1. Her mind was loud. Not in the sense of psychic defense. There were no barriers, no mental shields, but in sheer, unfiltered activity. Thoughts came at me in jagged bursts. What was that noise? Did I leave the panel open? Oh, that smells like burnt coffee. I hate burnt coffee. Wait. Focus. Holt. Focus. Lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. I recoiled, not from pain but from disorientation. Most hosts could be mapped quickly. Their mental terrain was orderly enough for me to navigate. But this was chaos given form. I pushed deeper, seeking control of her limbs. She laughed. Not aloud, in her mind. Hey there. You're new. Hosts didn't address me. They screamed, they begged, they drowned beneath my will. This one spoke. You will cease thought and submit, I projected into her consciousness. My command was flawless, honed over centuries. Yeah, that's not happening, she replied, her mental tone maddeningly casual. I surged forward, wrapping her motor functions in my grip. She took one step, then slammed her own knee into a bulkhead so hard pain flared through both of us. I released her leg in reflex. Rule 1, pal, she said, if you're going to steal my body, you'd better be ready to feel everything it feels. I tried suppression, damping her higher reasoning. Instead of quiet, I got noise. Songs. Random jingles. The sensory memory of hot oil hitting skin. A dozen voices speaking over each other about unrelated things. I shoved harder. The noise got worse. You like that? I can keep it up all day. For the first time in a long while, I felt something I couldn't name, a fraying of focus, an edge of unease. This was not how it was supposed to go. She moved, and I moved with her, unwillingly. She walked down the corridor, every step exaggerated, humming a human tune that looped without end. What are you doing? I demanded. Walking to the mess. I could use a sandwich. Or maybe I'll climb into an airlock and see how you like vacuum. The thought wasn't idle. I could feel the sincerity in it. She would kill herself just to kill me. That was new. I shifted tactics, attempting to lock her memory centers. I would erase her sense of self, strip her down to reflex. She responded by dragging me through her own mind, through firelit nights in war zones, through loss and grief so raw it burned. Welcome to my head, she said. It's not a nice place. Enjoy your stay. By the time she reached the mess hall, I understood one thing with absolute clarity. This host was going to be different. And if I stayed, I would need to fight not just for control, but for survival. The resistance. I have never been pushed back inside a host before. With the real hunters, I smothered their instincts in minutes. With the Mtar scholars, I rewrote their logic until they begged to obey. Every species, every mind, bent in the end. This human. She was building walls while I was inside. And worse, she was building them out of noise. When I tried to seize her hands, she flooded my sensory channels with the sensation of holding them over a fire. When I tried to still her breathing, she forced us both into deep lungfuls of acrid coolant vapors. Every attempt to override a motor function came with a countersurge of discomfort, confusion, or outright pain. "Not so fun when you can't just flip the switches, huh?" she said. "You will surrender. My control is inevitable." She laughed, an actual full-bodied laugh that echoed in her mind like a bell. "Buddy, I've been through worse than you before breakfast." I increased pressure, wrapping myself tighter around her neural pathways. This time, I focused on her visual cortex, hijacking her sight. I blanked the view, replacing it with the calm monochrome haze I always gave hosts during assimilation. Her response? She sang. Loudly. Off-key. In her mind. The lyrics made no sense, something about a purple people-eater, but the sheer ridiculousness of it fractured my concentration. Images I had suppressed bled through, flashes of color, blinding light, a memory of standing in a rainstorm shouting into the wind. Every sensation she forced on me came with a rush of emotion. That was the danger. Parasites prefer to work in the clean sterility of reason and reflex. But humans feel everything in bright, burning hues, and she could weaponize it. I tried a different approach, memory lockdown. If I could sever her from herself, she would drift into passivity. I pressed in, targeting the web of personal recollections, and found barbed wire. She shoved a memory into me, a field hospital under bombardment, her hands slick with blood that was not hers, the sound of someone's last breath rasping against her ear. The weight of it slammed through my mind like a blow. I recoiled. "You endured this willingly?" I asked. "Not willingly. But I didn't quit," she replied. Then she grinned, in that infuriating way humans grin even when they shouldn't. "Get comfy. I've got a lot more where that came from." By the third hour, I was forced to admit I had lost partial control. My grip on her motor functions flickered. I could guide a hand to a panel, only for her to smack it away an instant later. I could turn a step into a stumble. I could not command. She, on the other hand, had learned to nudge at me. Not much, but enough to glimpse fragments of my own hive memories. "Oh," she said slowly, drawing the sound out. "So you've done this a lot. Whole civilizations, huh? You will not access." Too late. Got it. I felt her poke at my recollection of the last host I'd abandoned, a serene, compliant creature that had simply let me walk its body into enemy lines. She compared it, deliberately, to herself. Yeah, I'm not that. The worst moment came when she reached the comms console. I lunged to stop her, but she'd anticipated the move, locking her jaw and forcing her hands to move in jerky, unpredictable bursts. It was like trying to control a puppet whose strings were knotted and twitching on their own. She keyed in a short sequence, too fast for me to block. Somewhere, a burst of radio static escaped into the void. "What did you do?" I demanded. "Oh, nothing," she said lightly. "Just told my friends I've got company." I froze. If her species responded quickly enough. I sent a desperate ping to the hive, requesting extraction. Human host. Non-viable. The reply was immediate, cold. Maintain control. Humans are priority targets. My grip tightened instinctively, but she felt it and only smiled in the dark of her mind. "Guess you're stuck with me, bug." The unraveling. Humans are not supposed to be apex predators. I have inhabited the minds of planetary alphas, beasts with claws longer than my body, rulers of ecosystems that knew no fear. They fought me with instinct, with reflex, with rage. None lasted long. Dana Holt fights with something else entirely. By the fourth day, she has taken more from me than I have taken from her. I still control her autonomic functions, heartbeat, breath, but only because she allows it. When I try to override her motor skills, she twists them into sabotage. If I make her step forward, she slams us into a bulkhead. If I try to aim her hands at a keypad, she types nonsense until the system locks. I attempt to lull her into compliance with dream constructs, wrapping her in soft visions where surrender feels natural. She burns them down instantly, filling the dreamscape with explosions, combat alarms, and the sound of boots on metal. "This isn't a fight you can win," I tell her. "I don't need to win," she says. "I just need to make you lose." Her strategy changes on the fifth day. No longer content to merely resist, she starts probing. I feel her pushing back into my presence, faint at first, then stronger, testing my mental structure. She catches fragments, a corridor of black chitin, the chemical tang of the hive's nutrient pools, the echo of 1,000 voices layered into one. Gotcha, she murmurs in thought. I try to shield the memory of my infiltration protocols, but she slithers around them like water through cracks. She sees my history, my other hosts, my easy victories over lesser minds. Then she does something I did not expect. She laughs. You've never had anyone fight you this long, have you? I do not answer. Her laughter is worse than her defiance. It carries an understanding I do not want her to have. The hive sends reinforcements. 3 more parasites arrive in stealth pods, each seeking their own human hosts. I exhale relief. Once they control additional bodies, we can subdue her by sheer numbers. But Dana is already moving, already thinking in ways that not my control. She engineers accidents, bumping into crew, passing quick, whispered warnings, triggering alarms that force potential hosts to remain in large, chaotic groups. My kin prefer isolated prey. Humans in crowds are harder to take without detection. One parasite manages to latch onto a technician. For 6 minutes, I feel its triumph, then a psychic scream as the human mind inside turns on it with the same chaotic fury Dana wields. The scream cuts off. Silence follows. A second parasite finds a security officer. The link between us lasts less than an hour before it, too, sends a frantic broadcast. Extraction. Host is unstable. I realize with growing horror that Dana is teaching them. Somehow, through contact, through warning, she is spreading her resistance like an infection. By the 6th day, the station feels hostile to me. Every human I glimpse radiates suspicion and alertness. Eyes dart. Conversations cut short when we enter a room. Dana takes full advantage. She forces us into hazardous maintenance areas, narrow conduits humming with exposed power lines, cryopipes venting freezing gas. I am unused to fearing physical harm to the host. Now, every spark, every hiss of escaping coolant, feels like a threat to me. You cannot kill me without killing yourself, I remind her. Yeah, she says, but the difference is I'm willing to take that risk. It is then that I understand what makes humans dangerous. Not their strength, not their intelligence, but their capacity to choose pain if it serves their purpose. No other host species has ever wielded self-destruction as a weapon. I send another signal to the hive. Immediate extraction required. Risk unacceptable. The hive's reply is clipped. Hold. Human hosts must be mastered. In the silence that follows, Dana leans into the mental space where I cower. You're not leaving until I say so. Her certainty is absolute. And for the first time in my long existence, I feel something I once thought belonged only to prey. I am afraid. The break. On the 7th day, I know I will not survive. It is not her defiance alone that damns me, it is the contagion of it. Dana Holt has become the seed crystal of a spreading resistance. Every human who meets her gaze carries away a spark of something hostile to my kind. Even without direct contact, they know. I feel it when my hive siblings falter. The last one, still inhabiting a host, breaks link mid-shift. One moment, its thoughts are aligned with the hive. The next, they are drowning in human static, begging for release, and then, silence. We are not a species that begs. Dana takes me to the comms array again. This time, she doesn't fight my control to do it. She lets me steer our body forward, as if indulging a child. You want to call for help? Go ahead, she says. I do not trust her sudden cooperation. Yet the hive's orders are clear. Hold, control, wait for reinforcements. I key the transmission manually, trying to route it through encrypted subspace. Halfway through, I realize she has been guiding our steps, positioning us between 2 towering antenna pylons, both bleeding off residual plasma charge from the last storm. What are you? The arc jumps before I can finish. Electricity floods the body, flaring every nerve. I scream, not aloud, but across the neural link, as my delicate filaments recoil from the blast. My grip loosens. Dana is already there, surging into the gap. I retreat deeper into her mind, seeking the safe hollows where a parasite can hide. She hunts me through them. Every chamber I seal, she pounds open with memories like battering rams. The weight of a rifle in her hands, the stink of burning metal, the echo of her own voice shouting orders in chaos. She finds my core and doesn't attack directly. Instead, she talks. I know what you are now. You're not a hunter. You're a leech with delusions of grandeur. You know nothing of the hive, I snarl. I know you've never had to fight someone who'd rather die than give you an inch. Her will tightens like a vice. The more I strain, the more I feel my presence thinning. I send a final burst to the hive. Loss imminent. Extraction impossible. Do not approach humans. The reply never comes. Perhaps they already know. Perhaps they have decided I am expendable. When the separation comes, it is not the clean severing I expect. Dana doesn't rip me free, she pushes me out. I am forced down through the neural link, along the same path I entered, but coated in her thoughts, her emotions, her essence. It clings to me like fire, burning my psychic form. By the time I am expelled into the stale air of the comms chamber, I am half mad from the heat of her mind. She stands over me, her body hers again, and looks down with eyes that carry no fear. You picked the wrong species, she says aloud. I scuttle for the nearest vent. She doesn't stop me. She doesn't have to. I escape the station in a maintenance pod, weak and flickering. Without a host, I cannot survive long in open space, but instinct drives me toward the hive's beacon. When I arrive, I find only silence. The hive ships are gone. The last psychic traces tell the story. Humans fought back. Humans won. And every parasite who touched a human mind carried back a fragment of Dana Holt with them, defiance, chaos, and the terrible willingness to suffer if it meant victory. That fragment poisoned us. Hosts rebelled. Takeovers collapsed. The hive scattered. Now I drift. Alone. Unlinked. I could find another species, another mind to inhabit. But I do not. Every time I reach for a new host, I feel her waiting there, not Dana herself, but the memory of her. The noise. The fire. The refusal to yield. It is enough to keep me away. We once believed humans were prey. We were wrong. They are predators of a different kind, ones who hunt not with claws or fangs, but with the unbreakable will to deny their enemy any victory at all. And I, who have bent 1,000 minds, am the proof of it. I am still pleading to leave.